Okay, for this one, they have this shape here. It's like a ball field. And they want to cover it in 4 inches of topsoil. And they need to know how many cubic yards of topsoil they need for this. So it's a sector is what it's called. And we see that we have the field, the ball field itself is 90 degrees. But with the foul areas here, they also want to cover that. So this whole arch here is 119 degrees. And from home plate out is 210 feet, which is the radius really. If you drew this as a circle, it would be 210 feet. So that's a little background information. Now what we're going to use to work on this, from our formula sheet, we have a section on the bottom right hand of the blue boxes. There's a section called sectors. And in that section it shows arc length and area, how to find each of those. And just above that, there's another box that says, maybe one row or two above that, it talks about how to convert from degrees to radians. And radians is this, looks almost like an O or an oval that has like a little line kind of squiggly going through it like that. Radians. And so we're going to be using those two boxes in particular to work on this problem. Now in the problem itself, they said, keep in mind that volume of this sector is found by taking the area times the depth. Well, we need to find the area, which is in our sector right here. Area is 1/2 of the radius squared times the radian. And so the steps that we're going to take here, first of all, we need to find the radian before we can find the area. Once we find the area, or excuse me, the radian, then we're going to convert all of our measurements to yards. We can either do that at the beginning, convert everything to yards, or as we go along, we can do one piece here, one piece there, and then in the final answer, make sure everything's converted to cubic yards. My perspective is that's a lot more complicated to do it piece by piece. It's easier if in the beginning we know they're asking about cubic yards. We might as well make the measurements all represented as yards first. Then we don't have to worry about it at the end. So that's why I have step 2, convert your inches of depth to yards, and then convert your feet measurements to yards. So we're first 3 steps is just converting the information. We're going to convert the degrees to radians, the 4 inches to the yards, and then the 210 feet to the yards. Then when everything's represented that way, then we can find the area. And then once we find the area of that shape, then we can multiply that area by the depth in yards that we came up with in this second step. So to find radians, this is the formula here. You take 180 over pi equals however many degrees you have over radians. So it said we had 119 degrees. So it's 180 over pi is equal to 119 degrees over some radians. And so in order to ever solve proportions, which this is a fraction equal to a fraction, you cross multiply where you can and then divide by the number left hanging. So we're going to say pi times 119 because we could cross multiply this way. And then the number we didn't use was the 180, so we'll divide by 180. Cross multiply where you can, divide by the number left hanging. So when we do pi times 119 and then divide that by 180, we get 2.07694. So I think it said round everything to the hundredths place. So that's what I'm going to do, 2.08 radians. Okay, so now we know. So Then we're also going to convert our inches to yards. So 4 inches converted to yards. What you would do here is you would say, well, 36 inches is 1 yard. So it's really 4 divided by 36. And so that's a decimal. We'll do that to hundredths as well. That's what 4 inches is it's 0.015 yards approximately. So here we have area is, oh, we didn't, I'm sorry, we got to convert our feet now. We had 210 feet, and we need to convert that to yards. Well, there's 3 feet in a yard. So we're going to divide this 210 by 3. So that's 70 yards. So really, this measurement is 70 yards here, 70 yards here. And what did we say about the other? Oh, it's going to be 0.015 yards deep. And the radians were 2.08 on the radians. So that helps us. Now we have a lot of the information that we need. So to find the area, it's 1/2 our radius, and in this case we changed the radius to yards, so it's 70 yards squared times the 2.08 radians. So let's see what we get when we do that. And that comes out to 5096 is the area. And for the sector, we have the area. Now we need to multiply it, because now that's the area. So now we need to take that times the 0.15, which is the 4 inches deep. So we have the volume. So we'll do times 0.15. So that would be 764.4 cubic yards of material needed.